Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kinship Tavern. I am your host, Uelo. Once again, I hope that you had a beautiful holidays and a beautiful start of this brand new year for 2025. It's been a while since we spoken last due to the holidays. So once again, I hope you all had a beautiful holiday and a beautiful start to this 2025 new year. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of the Valiant Solo Season 1, Episode 1, where we're going to be enjoying ourselves in this new series here on the channel. Now, for those who missed Episode 0, please go back, check it out, because this is where we get most of the information about what we're going to be using, how we're going to be using it, and why we're going to be using it. And also, our character will be introduced in that one in more detail. However, in this one, we will not go over all that since I already did that in the last episode. So please, by all means, you can pause this video, go check that one out, and then come back to this one. And for those who don't remember, this is the beginning of a whole new adventure here. Solo roleplay using Tales of the Valiant rule set. And like I said, let's once again introduce our character. His name is Leonardo Leo Clawheart. That's right, Leonardo, Leo for short, Clawheart, and that is who we'll be playing today. But before we get into this adventure, I believe that we need a little bit more of a backstory. So I have asked my beautiful sister Jen to do this part for me. Please, with all further ado, let us hear the backstory with the beautiful Jen as our narrator.
It is the year 1349 DR, in the month of deep winter. You have been on the road for nearly 2 months now, and snow hangs thick on the trees as you make your way towards the town of Orbar at the foot of the Grey Peak Mountains. The Grey Peaks are known throughout Faerun for their silver and iron mines, but it is a different type of metal that brought you here: gold. While you were in Netherwinter, you overheard rumours of a large hoard of treasure within an abandoned goblin keep. Even tavern rumours proved to be fruitful sometimes, and having been without purpose for some months, you departed immediately for the Grey Vale. When you reach Orbar, the air is brisk and the town is busy. Carts carry all manner of goods: timber, wool bales, grain, and animals from the surrounding country. Some of these goods would be bound for Waterdeep or Neverwinter, others for the nearby city of Loudwater. Hungry and thirsty, after many days on the road, you enter the first tavern you see, the Woodman's Retreat, and satisfy your cravings. Bread, cheese, and a hot mulled wine do the trick nicely. Then you inquire from the barkeep about accommodation. Your bones ache and rest is essential. The mountains can wait 1 or 2 days while you rest and replenish your supplies in town. The barkeep tells you that a very respectable inn, the Silver Flask, is just nearby. Toting your backpack, you walk down the street to the Silver Flask and pay for a room. The innkeep is a jolly woman who is glad to have your business, and she lights a cosy fire in your room. You bathe, then lie down to rest, and soon fall into a deep sleep. It's been a while since your travel-hardened self has had clean sheets and a roof overhead. You are awoken later that night by noise from the next room. You can hear a woman openly sobbing on the other side of the wall. The sound is gut-wrenching. Every now and then, a male voice says something as if trying to comfort her. You tolerate this for a while, but eventually, it becomes evident that sleep is going to be impossible, and you walk out into the hallway and knock on the door to the room next to yours. An elderly man answers. He is dressed finely, like a member of the aristocracy, but sports a nasty black eye and a gash across his cheek. In the background, a woman also richly dressed sits on a chair by the fire, her face buried in her hands. "Yes, what is it?" the elderly gentleman asks directly. You straighten yourself up, peering into the room. "I was wondering what all the noise was about," you say, although you don't feel quite so annoyed. "I could hear crying from the next door. I was wondering," you say gruffly, not used to dealing with aristocrats. "If it's anything I can help you with, perhaps then we can all get some rest." At this, the woman looks up and sees you. You probably look a fright after all those weeks on the road. Ungroomed, hair dishevelled, travel-worn clothes, but you've had a bath, so at least you don't smell bad. However, your type has an air about them. You've seen a fight or two and know how to handle yourself in most situations. You're what's known in these parts as the adventuring type. Such types generally know how to get things done, things that others might shy away from. "Show our guest in, Elric," the woman says weakly, drying her tears with a silk handkerchief. You are shown to a chair. For some reason, this old couple, who introduce themselves as Lord and Lady Brumont, welcome your presence, if only as a distraction from the grief they seem consumed by. We arrived here last night, Lady Brumont begins. Elric is so busy these days, so we thought we would bring ourselves out to Allbar for a little holiday. Our son, he's so fond of the mountains. Loves all the stories. Well, he's our grandson, really. The son of our daughter, who died some years ago. He is all we have left of her. We call him our son, Lady Brumont begins, sobbing once more. Elric Brumont picks up the thread. Long story short, my friend, we were accosted on the highway. We were passing along a lonely stretch of road when he appeared from nowhere. A knight, a towering brute of a man, all clad in armour, Lord Elric points to his face. Did this to me, knocked me out cold. Then he grabbed our boy, threw him on the horse, and bolted without a word. You say, mulling over this information. Did he seem familiar, this knight? Elric shakes his head. I know what you're thinking. Wealthy aristocrat on holiday from Loudwater, someone must have known we were coming out here, and seized the opportunity. It's true, I am what you would call a public figure. It is well known in Loudwater at least that I am a wealthy man. But no, this knight was something else. We didn't see his face. It was hidden by a great metal visor. A towering warrior he was, a hulk of a man. Lady Brumont speaks again, and he has kidnapped our poor little Derek. Abducted him, just ripped him out of our grasp. What did you do then, you ask? We came straight to Allbar, Lady Brumont says. We went to the captain of the guard, but he, a thoroughly incompetent fool, Lord Brumont growls, said this knight was a ghost, that he'd chosen Derek as his squire, and that there was nothing he could do about it. Said Derek wasn't the first, called him the Death Knight. You can imagine what a comfort that was to us. They say the knight lives in the wood nearby, Lady Brumont says airily, as if in a waking dream. Weathercote Wood, isn't it, dear? The old man grits his teeth, staring into the fire, and punches his arm. Ghost, my arse, he snarls through gritted teeth. That knight looked real enough to me. He's a lunatic, nothing more. A lunatic who kidnaps young boys. And when I find the blackguard, by the gods he will pay. You can't help thinking that Lord Brumont is a bit out of his depth here. You don't doubt his resolve, but he looks as though his days of conquest are well behind him. You feel for this poor old couple. While not usually associating with the wealthy, you do know that you have something to offer them, and you never want to shy away from a good adventure, especially when the chance of a reward is on the table. I can find your boy, you hear yourself saying. The woman looks up, and new hope begins to shine from her eyes. Oh, gods, she says, her voice quavering. We'll give you anything. Anything. The old man is a little more practical. If I was a few decades younger, I'd be out there myself. I saw action in the Battle of Tangle Fork, when we freed the Vale from Renshaw rule. You nod appreciatively. That battle happened about 30 years ago, and was said to be fierce. You are not surprised. Elric Brumont definitely carries himself like an old veteran. I can't put my sword forward anymore, but I can offer you gold, my friend. 2,000 pieces of it, to be exact.
Thank you once again, Jen, for that beautiful rendition of the backstory. Ladies and gentlemen, Jen's YouTube page link will be down in the description down below. Please, by all means, go over to her page. Let her know that you loved her rendition of the backstory. Give her a little love for me, and much appreciated. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let us continue. At the dawn of the next day, following a few scraps of information you have, you saddle your horse and ride to the outskirts of town. The town folks pay you little mind as you go, casting you with an occasional glare. The journey to Weathercote Woods lies due east, but it's not a short ride. The captain of the guards tells you that the Death Knight has always been in a small patch of the woods that's just outside the western side of the Weathercote, like a wart on a giant's nose. By midday you reach a sign which tells you you have another 15 miles to go. You should make it there by nightfall. Not far past the sign is a small inn and tavern. An old man sits at the chair in the afternoon sun and raises a tumbler of ale as you pass. The last drinks for many miles, the old man calls to you. Come sit and I'll buy you an ale. Now, this is where we have to make a decision. 1. Do we accept the old man's invitation? If we do, we go to entry brewski. 2. If you are mindful of the time and choose to ride on, we go to entry, keep going. Now, to make this simple for us to decide, I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 1 die 6. If it's odds, we'll go to brewskis. If it's evens, we'll go to keep going. So let's throw a dice up here. Get this going right there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's roll and see what we get. That one does not count because they just put the die on the table. So let's roll. And we got even. So we are going to keep going. So let's take a look at that. It is late when you finally reach Weathercoat Woods, some 55 miles east of Owlbear. There, on the wood's edge, you camp and you let your horse run free. You won't be needing him for a while. Weathercoat Woods is thick, the foliage is dense, towering walls of green. And in there, somewhere, if the information you have is to be trusted, is the boy Derek Brumont. You settle down in your bedroll. The amber of your fire keeps you warm and well into the night. After a full day's riding, it doesn't take long for you to fall into a deep slumber. The sound of the nearby river lulls you to sleep. You wake just before dawn, fully rested, but the noise instantly puts you on guard. From somewhere nearby comes a wet, slithering sound. Quickly, you pick up your weapon and move forward stealthily. When you are some 100 or so feet away, whatever is lurking catches your scent, and you hear it running quickly away. Only dim starlight shows any detail, and all you can see is the darkness shape moving through the night towards the woods. Once again, now we have 2 choices, but really we don't have 2 choices, we have 1. Do you have a ranged weapon? If so, and you wish to attack using it, go to entry, shoot after. If not, go to entry, dead Nelly. Now, as you all know from our first episode, episode 0, my apologies. In our character sheet, you do know that we, as part of our attacks, we do have some weapons. And part of those weapons is a long bow. With 1 die 8 piercing, I have a range of 150 to 600 feet. So the decision has really been done for us. So we're going to go to shoot after and see where that takes us. Your target is about 100 feet away. You lift your weapon, take a quick assessment of the condition, and fire. Now we have a choice. Make an attack roll at a disadvantage unless you have dark vision, which the disadvantage will be in armor class 17 for the opponent, at whatever is fleeing from you. If your attack hits, you go to entry good shot. If we miss, we go to entry miss. However, like I said before, because of the disadvantage, it's armor class 17. However, me being a werecat, I do have dark vision, and normally, if there is no disadvantage, the armor class of my opponent should be a 15. If there's anyone who feels that this is not correct or wish to discuss it, please leave comments down below. Let's discuss it in the comment section, and we'll decide whether I was wrong or right in my evaluation of that assessment. Now, on top of that, not only is it a 15 because I do have dark vision, but on my character sheet, as you can see, I have a proficiency bonus of +2. I am proficient in longbow, so that gives me a +2 to my roll. So what I need now is a 13. 13 plus 2 is the 15 I need to hit. So anything higher than a 13, I automatically hit. Any less than a 13, I will fail to make the roll. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's clean this out. Let's get the 1 die 20 out. And let's roll. Now remember, I just put that on the table. That roll does not count. So let's roll and see what happens. And 19, beautiful. We are going to a good shot. That is beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Again, remember I said we need a 13 or better. 13 plus 2 is 15. Technically, I needed a 15. I have a 19. That is a hit. If I would have gotten a 20, that would have been a crit. Would have been double damage. If there is double damage to be dealt. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let us go to good shot. You hear your arrow make its mark, and then hear a cry of pain. Definitely not human. You know that much. However, the creature hardly slows, and soon is out of sight. Disappear within the dark green of the Weathercoat Woods. Go to entry Dead Nelly. You walk forward to where the beast had been before, making all that noise that woke you. There, twitching in its death throe, is a horse you rode from Owlbar. Grinning your teeth in anger, you take out your weapon and quickly put your poor beast out of its misery. The first rays of dawn begin to creep into the sky. With a sigh of resignation, you wipe the horse blood from your weapon and begin to trek towards the wood's edge. The morning is peaceful, in contrast to the savagery you have just witnessed, and a chorus of birds greeting the dawn, with calls that echo off in the low hills of the surrounding landscape. As you near Weathercoat Woods, you can see down a single path that leads you into its depths. You see a little light seen in the penetration through the canopy. Night still hides beneath the mossy bogs and dark green vines that threads the ancient trees together. You step into the path and enter Weathercoat Woods. You know what fate awaits you within these shadow depths. Go to Tile 1, which is Map 1. We're going to use it as Map 1. And then forget this part because we don't have the link to entry, so I will show you what is next. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, in Tile page 1, this is what they meant. Move your token to the bottom grid square of the tile page, or place your token on a square adjoining to the tile you have just come from. Since we just got here, we're going to put it at the bottom of the square. We read the following. You move ahead deep into the woods, and it almost seems as if the trees themselves are watching your progress. Indeed, as you go on, you really do get the feeling that you are being watched. Now we have options, or actually eight options, right? You can check for traps, right? Unless we return here, that means that if we return back to this same map that I'm going to show you, if we check for traps, we can't check them again because we would have found them or they would have triggered. So if we take this option, we roll perception for DC 12. If it's successful, we go to check success. If it fails, we go to trap failed. The question is, do we want to take this option, right? And if we do or we don't, when you're ready, move your token through the map in the direction you desire. When you reach the square adjoining the green translucent dot, go to entry, quiet entry. When you have finished all encounters, you may move to the edge of the map and onto an adjoining, let's call them maps, whether it's map 2, 3, or 5. So the question is, do we want to take the option? So what I'm thinking is, why don't we roll for it, right? Let's make it simple for ourselves. So let's roll for it, right? And I think if we go to, let's erase this, and we use a 1.8, which is this here. Again, don't worry about that. If it's 1 through 4, we'll do it. If it's 5 through 8, we forget it. Really that simple, right? So let's roll. See what we get. We got a 5. We forget it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let us head off to the map. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's the map that we were talking about. As you can see, there are arrows pointing to the maps from the previous page. So we have map number 2 on the right hand side, map number 3 on the left hand side, map number 5 above us, and our token is now currently on the bottom of the map, and where the middle is the green translucent light that we were talking about before. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have for this video today, so we're going to leave it right here. But before we go, I must say, how crazy was it that I killed my own horse? Is that crazy or what? I killed my own horse. I can't believe it. Anyway, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I want to thank you for you joining me on this journey here in Tales of the Valiant, this solo play. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.